Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Welcome to this virtual gathering of Washington Avenue Christian Church. My name is Nathan Russell, and I serve this congregation as its senior pastor. A link to the worship guide is available in the description below this video. And during this 30-minute time we share together, we will sing and pray and hear the word proclaimed. Following the meditation, we will have a time to reflect through an activity, prayer, communion, and giving. Talking in church is cool these days, so if you're participating in the premiere, join with us in the chat that's off to the side or below your screen. If you're watching at another time, leave a comment on the video and let us know who you are, your viewing location, and how you found us. The hashtag, as always, is virtual worship, and remember to tag the church as well using the @ symbol and WACCELYRIA. Life is a puzzle, and we're trying to put all the pieces together to make them fit. But right now, it feels as if we are stuck between a rock and a hard place. That's okay. We're not the first to be here, and we won't be the last. God will meet us, because God is our rock, our foundation, the fortress that saves, even now. So, beloved, I say to you, wherever you may be, lift up your hearts. We lift them to the Lord.
verses 1 through 5 and 15 and 16. In you, O Lord, I seek refuge. Do not let me ever be put to shame. In your righteousness, deliver me. Incline your ear to me. Rescue me speedily. Be a rock of refuge for me, a strong fortress to save me. You are indeed my rock and my fortress. For your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Take me out of the net that is hidden for me, for you are my refuge. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Lord, faithful God. My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and persecutors. Let your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your steadfast love. For poetry that points to truth beyond words, thanks be to God.
In the midst of sheltering in place, many people are picking up new and renewing old skills. Some of you are learning how to use Zoom for the very first time. Well done, well done. I've heard too that many are reading new novels by beloved authors. Several of you have sent me poetry or limericks that you've written. One brave person mentioned in one of our Zoom gatherings last night that her house has never been cleaner. I cannot, however, say the same for myself. But we can agree that we are, in varying degrees, discovering new hobbies and renewing favorite pastimes. One activity that has never resonated for me is assembling a puzzle. For those of you who have the time and patience to meticulously and carefully put together a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle of the most serene, snow-covered mountaintop landscape, my hat is off to you. You have the patience of Job. Speaking of puzzles, I heard on the news that puzzle sales were up 370% at the beginning of last month. Some puzzle-making companies, and others too, have gotten creative with their offerings. No more landscapes or Thomas Kincaid paintings. The latest puzzle to baffle and entertain potential buyers is one manufactured by a company called Beverly. It has 1,000 pieces, and get this, all of them are white. When I checked Amazon earlier today, the puzzle remains sold out. However, Heinz, that's the condiment company, has a less intimidating 570-piece jigsaw puzzle that's the hue of their ketchup. But honestly, I cannot imagine anything worse than holding up micro puzzle pieces to the light to see their form, turning them between my fingers so that I know their shape and where they might interlock, and pressing one into an adjoining neighbor only to realize it's not a fit. Puzzles, literal jigsaw puzzles, frighten me. Puzzles, metaphorically speaking, they still frighten me, but I'm curious enough to try, to attempt. When I read text each week, and the Psalms in particular, I lift up these verses to the light to see what they look like, what shadows they cast. Sometimes I turn the verses not so much in my fingers, but in my mind, left and right, forward and backward, sometimes in the original language. Somehow I try to make all of the pieces fit together, or fit within the text, or fit in the context, fit in a meditation, fit within the narrative of life and faith. Every piece, every verse is unique and yet part of a larger whole. We've heard, right? Everything is supposed to fit together, except sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes a block sets in when completing a puzzle or reading a text or writing a poem or a meditation or a sermon. I get stuck. I've written or imagined myself into a virtual corner of some kind, and I can't find a way out. I'm between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. To make matters worse, I don't know that I'm always playing with a full deck of cards. But wait, I'm mixing metaphors. I mean, sometimes I'm not sure that I have all of the puzzle pieces. Did the manufacturer include them all? Has one gone missing? Did one fall from the table or get left inside the box? And there's no way I'm counting to 1,000 in neat, separated, rounded mounds of 100 pieces each. With the psalm we heard read, we don't get the full picture. We don't have all the pieces. The full poem is 24 pieces. I mean verses. That's such a beautiful, small, even, and perfect number. We should be able to work with a quantity of 24. We do it every day. But the manufacturers of the lectionary prescribed only verses 1 through 5, 15 and 16. It's two sections of a puzzle, and they don't quite connect. They don't fit. We don't have the middle adjoining parts. Yes, some parts are contiguous and they do fit, but the full picture remains a mystery. And to make matters worse, there's no outside box to get a bird's eye view of what the finished product is supposed to look like when it's all said and done. So as we approach this psalm, this puzzle, we may feel that we are caught between a rock and a hard place. From the pieces of the psalm we have put together, we can conclude that the poet, too, feels caught, trapped, stuck. Trouble is near and at her doorstep. Just listen to what she says. In you, O Holy One, I seek refuge. Do not let me ever be put to shame. In your righteousness, deliver me. Take me out of the net that is hidden for me. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and persecutors. This sounds like a most difficult circumstance. It is a hard place. I've lost count of what day it is of sheltering in place and how long it's been since we've been able to gather in person. How many weeks of Sunday worship and midweek Vesper services have we recorded? Nostalgia is at work too. I reminisce about in-person gatherings and sometimes catch myself worshiping at the idol known by the name of normal. All of these disparate experiences feel like pieces to a puzzle, but I'm not at all sure how they fit together, and sometimes I question if they're even part of the same puzzle. This pandemic is a landscape unlike that which we have seen in 100 years. It's a hard place right now. Each day we pick up new and old pieces of the puzzle. We hold them up to the light. We see the shadows they cast. We turn them in our fingers to feel their curves and edges. And we wonder how they will fit with a larger whole. Looking over this psalm for the umpteenth time, part of it finally started to sound familiar. The indentations and protrusions of two pieces were known to me as if I had assembled part of this puzzle before, or maybe preached this psalm. One of the two pieces reads like this: My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and persecutors. And another like this. Let your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your steadfast love. Where had I seen these pieces before? Maybe off to the side somewhere, someplace I thought I'd remember because I knew I was going to come back to them, to need them, to connect them. Now, this may be cheating. I will confess to that. I searched my digital folder of sermon manuscripts, and sure enough, there it was, Psalm 31, verses 9 through 16 from Holy Week just this year during the pandemic and era of online worship. You can even YouTube and search for it. It's another section of the whole puzzle that connects with today, but it's still not the entire thing. We're still missing half the pieces. And we may feel stuck again, not able to make sense of it all, nothing fitting together as it should. We may feel caught between a rock and a hard place. But when we look at the larger section from weeks ago, and the section before us now, we catch a glimpse, or at least a hint, of what the puzzle, the psalm, the picture might look like when it's all together. We read additional verses from this psalm, pieces of the puzzle and fragments of our life that sound like this. Incline your ear to me, rescue me speedily. Be a rock of refuge for me, a strong fortress to save me. You are indeed my rock and my fortress. For your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Lord, faithful God. Let your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your steadfast love. This too is a hard place, but not in the same way. God is the rock. God is the fortress. God is the deliverer. The puzzle, the psalm, and our lives remain unfinished. There is some anxiety in having something, anything really, that's incomplete. A psalm, a meditation, a question, a pandemic, a life. All of it can be, and is now, a hard place. And we may be stuck here for a while. But let us keep coming back to the puzzle, day by day, rediscovering old and new pieces. We'll lift them up to the light and look for the shadows they cast. We'll feel their corners and angles as we turn the pieces between our fingers. And we'll search for where they may fit. It may be that the pieces in our hands will reveal a rock, the rock of ages that forms the firm foundation of the fortress that saves. Amen.
Faithful God, it seems that we are caught between a rock and a hard place right now. Our current landscape is not what we expected. We have questions and no easy answers. The pieces to the puzzle don't fit as they once did. We are trying to grasp a fuller picture of what it all means, but we are unsure of so much, and we feel stuck. Be with us in the hard places and remind us again and again that you are our rock, our firm foundation, and our fortress forever. Amen.
Today has been beautiful. The sun is out and the temperature is rising. So for the activity, I invite you to find a rock. Go outside, explore a creek bed, and pick one up. Lift it up to the light. See the shadows that it casts. Get to know its curves, its edges, its angles and corners. This is a rock that I keep on my desk in my office. And though you may not be able to see, it has holes all the way throughout it that the weather has eroded into the rock. But a friend of mine gave this to me at my ordination, and on it she wrote, "Discover beauty, a beautiful world, abundant life, gather hope, choose joy." And she attached a hanger for a picture. So take your rock and write on it words that are faithful for you. Words that help you put pieces of the puzzle together. Words about the rock that are true, the one who is our fortress and our firm foundation. We also invite you to use the links below in this video description to participate in the mission and ministry of the Washington Avenue Christian Church by giving to our offering. We also are eager to accompany you in prayer. So if there are ways that we can pray with you, please let us know. Finally, we come to this table. On the night Jesus met with his disciples in an upper room, he first washed his hands. And then looking at the table, he found the bread, took it, he broke it, gave thanks for it. He said to his disciples, "This is my body broken for you. Take, eat, all of you, and do this in remembrance of me." In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, and after giving thanks for it, he said, "This is the cup of the new covenant poured out in my blood. Drink of it, all of you, and do this in remembrance of me. For as long as we eat this bread and drink this cup, we put pieces of the puzzle of our life and faith back together. And then one day, we will see it all. Come, beloved, everything is ready. And now, beloved, our online virtual service of worship is about to conclude, but we are still putting pieces of the puzzle together. So take one, hold it up to the light, look for the shadows that it casts, and feel all the curves and edges. And may you discover the rock that is our salvation, our fortress, our foundation.